Well, hello there, friends. Thanks for clicking on this video, and I hope that you take a moment or two to give it a thumbs up. And if you find this content informative, please share it with your bestest of buds. And I want to readdress or address the issue with the Track of the Wolf cones. And I did some measuring on these cones in a previous video. You can go back on this channel and you can see all of that. But not one wanting to be defeated by this, I thought that I would take some time and show you how I overcame the problem with the Track of the Wolf cones. Now, I've already done one and it already works, but I just kind of want to show some things here in front of the camera, okay? Now, when I measured the Track of the Wolf cone in a previous video, and I gave that number, and then I measured the factory Uberti cone, somebody in the comment section said, well, you should measure the cones. Well, I'll show you why I measured it the way I measured it momentarily, okay? So once again, the Track of the Wolf cone measures 0.485. That's the overall length, okay? 0.485. Now this is the Uberti cone, factory cone. 0.498 or 99. Okay, so there is 15 thousandths difference. Okay, the reason I did not measure the cones, and here again, this is kind of an optical illusion. Here's the Uberti cone right here, and here's the Track of the Wolf cone. If you put these cones together, the Track of the Wolf cone looks shorter. And the reason that looks shorter is because the shoulder that you would normally use your nipple wrench on is taller. So if this is taller, it'll give the facade that the cone is shorter, when in fact it is not. I've already measured these from the base of this shoulder to the top of the cone. They both measure identical. And I just, oops, I think I dropped it. Nope, it went into my shirt. Pardon me. So from the base of the Track of the Wolf cone to the top of the cone, these measurements are identical. So where then logically would the problem exist? It would have to be in the depth of the threads and where the shoulder stops in the cylinder. Okay? That's where this difference is, and I can readily see it because I can put the two pieces together and I can see a gap, the difference in the length of the threads as it would thread into the cylinder. So, once again, not wanting to be defeated by this, I have some very thin brass sheeting. Now this brass sheeting measures 15 thousandths. Well, imagine that. So, wanting to get the precise size, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure not the threads, but where the threads end as they end at the base of the stop. And I can barely get it in there, but I can get a measurement of 0.179.180. Something to that number. The drill bit that I am using measures 0.181. I'm going to drill a hole in this piece of brass shim. Now I want the hole to be smaller than the width of the threads, okay, which is 0.216, okay. The reason I want to do that is because what I ultimately want to do is drill the hole and thread the nipple through, thread it through the brass sheeting so that it just doesn't slip off. So I'm gonna get that, and when I get this hole drilled, I'll show you what I'm actually getting at. Okay, I've got the hole drilled and I've cleaned it up. I'm going to take a pair of pliers and I'm going to grab the track of the wolf cone and I'm going to thread it through the brass. Now I have to give a little bit of pressure on it and it will thread through. Okay. Alright, as you can see, it's spinning freely because the hole is the same size as the neck is right here. It's not going to follow or fall through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nut that's the same size as the 12/28 threads on this cone, and I'm going to thread the two together tightly. Okay, then I'm going to go over and I'm going to take my Dremel tool with a very thin blade and I'm going to follow the contour of that cone. So in essence what I'm doing is I'm actually making a very thin washer. Let me get that accomplished and I'll be right back. Okay, so basically all I did was kind of score it and then peel it off, and now I have the cone that's got the brass washer underneath it. Now if you're going to do this, or you need to do this, make sure that when you use your Dremel tool, don't go straight down, kind of go at a little bit of an angle, so that you kind of like maybe undercutting it a little bit, if that makes any sense. So now I can thread this off. And I have the washer underneath the nipple that's not going to fall off because the hole that I drilled is smaller than the outside diameter of the threads, okay? So how does that work? Well, let me show you first. Okay, the next cylinder is capped. One of the reasons why I did this obviously is because if I drop the hammer slow on the cap, is that dog leg that's on the bolt gonna drop off the cam so that I can recycle it again, okay? So watch. There's the cap. I'm going to drop it down slow, okay? It recycles. So I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Okay, I'll get back around, lower it slow, and it cocks. A lot of times, friends, we don't need to be afraid to do this stuff. Now I will admit that I have to go and do a little bit more cleanup on this piece of brass, the washer that I made. It's not perfectly round, so I'm going to put the nut back on it, tighten it down, and just work a little bit with it with the file. Okay, just jumping in here real quick as I thread the last two on. Somebody had also made a comment about, could back these cones out just a little bit to increase the height of them. Personally, I do not recommend that, and I'll tell you why. Because what you have in that situation is you have the hammer beating the threads. You have your back pressure, whatever that may be, beating the threads. In my opinion, sooner or later, you're going to mess those threads up. That's why I don't like doing that, and why I recommend making some sort of shim or something to that effect fitting underneath these cones so that you can thread them into the cylinder and have a direct positive stop. So let's see what it does trying to get it threaded in. Get it in there, got it tight. Now I still have that first one in here, and I just kind of want to show everybody the difference in thousandths, okay? So I'm going to measure the one first that has the percussion cap on it, okay? And that measures, the best of my ability, 1.580. I'm going to measure the one that I just installed without the percussion cap so you can just see what the difference is, okay? And that measures 1.545. So you can see that there's several thousandths clearance with these cones. Okay? Do that one more time. Yeah, let's see, get a little straight here. Well, if I moved it. Let's see, 1.545. There again, the one with the percussion cap. .75. So I mean, there's a little variation, and I'm sure that that's me in doing this. But either way, with that little bit of variation, you can see there's still plenty of clearance. And as I demonstrated earlier, I can lower the hammer on a live cap, and I can still cycle. So I'm gonna finish doing the other three just like this. I certainly hope that this gives you food for thought. If you come across a situation like this, this is one way to resolve it. So thanks for watching, and everybody have a wonderful day. Bye.